So, Ashley and Steve here. The camera sucks because I forgot my tripod. So we're trying to squeeze into this little thing that we have going here. So we're starting a podcast. This is our intro. It's just Ashley and Steve for today. We don't have a name, so if you guys have any names that you might think of. But I'm like the spiritual alien person, and Steve is the occult conspiracy, used to be conspiracy person. So that those of you that kind of know a little bit about my story, Steve was the one that awakened me. So this is the one that I talk about, Steve with the books. Brian, the other part, isn't here. Brian actually fell and broke his leg in like 3 pieces or something. I don't know what the fuck happened. But Brian's not here right now. Brian, he's not going to be on the podcast all the time, but he will make his appearance. So that'll be cool.
Brian
Anyway.
will be good as like a person to ask questions instead of just us.
Brian's also really good for Hulk Hogan impressions and Macho Man impressions and all that weird shit.
Death the Road, baby.
Yeah. So anyways, Steve was the one that helped me awaken. Steve gave me the books. That's what I say when I do my public speaking. Steve came over me and Steve used to date. We used to be together, and he brought these fucking books over, and me and Brian would make fun of them. And you know, I think it was like a couple of months before we actually like started believing you.
Brian grilled me for a couple months, like trying to catch me on shit until I don't know what finally put him over the edge, but
yeah.
Eventually he just kind of gave in. You were a little softer on it, where he was like just grilling me for a while.
Yeah. So I think the first book that you gave me was Children of the Matrix by David Icke.
Yes.
And that time I was having a lot of like alien stuff going on, right?
Yeah.
So I was having a lot of like
dreams, right?
It was started with the dreams, and then remember the whole Gary story when we were in the car?
That's right.
Yeah. I talk about that in my ETs 101. But that was when it was like confirmed, like, oh shit, I'm getting abducted by aliens. This is what's happening in my life. So anyways, Steve gave me the conspiracy books, and like that's what completely opened me up. So this is why I'm here today and why I'm doing the work that I actually do today. My path changed, though. I became more spiritual instead of Miss Conspiracy, because I feel like once you begin to open up and really awaken and you connect with your inner truth, you can figure out the truths around you without having to, I guess, be so crazy with it like Alex Jones, you know?
Yeah, I kind of had the same path where I was the conspiracy guy, and then everyone would make fun of it, and then it became everybody believed conspiracies, kind of like now with the fake news and like everything's fucking fake. And I kind of turned to more of the spiritual stuff too. I guess more on the occult side, but it's really the same thing.
Let's talk about that, because a lot of people don't know about that, Steve. You got to get in the camera. I want people to see.
Well, people think of the occult.
There we go.
What do you call what you do, first of all?
Fucked up. I guess, like, if I was to put a label to it, I don't know. I hate putting a label to what I do. So when I meet a real normal person, I'll be like, I'm a holistic healer or a life coach, but I hate that term.
Right.
I really feel like I'm a spiritual teacher. If anything, but I really feel like as well that I am, I don't know, I'm a mentor as well. Like, I like to push people to their limit. I like to really go deep within their psyche and within their spiritual realm, within their higher self, and push them to as far as they can go and really help them develop.
And the reason I ask you that is because really it's all under the umbrella of the occult, but people think of the occult as some like weird, Satan. Dangerous Satan word.
Yeah.
When really it's just, to me, it's like a mystic psychology.
Right.
Like an ancient psychology.
Occult to me is information.
Yeah.
That's what occult means to me. Information that is hidden.
Right. That's literally, that's the literal translation of what it means. Just hidden.
Yes. Colleen says I'm a healer too. Yes, Colleen, I am a healer, but I also don't like that label. I mean, I use all these labels. Like, I'm a witch, I'm an alien, I'm a Viking alien witch. Like, that's what I always say to my boyfriend. I'm a Viking alien witch. Like, I'm a healer, but I don't know. I feel like I'm more of a teacher than anything. I'm just a fucking teacher.
Yeah, the problem with these terms is they all kind of come with this like weird connotation to most people. Like healer or the occult or new age or whatever you want to call it. All of that stuff does. But that's their problem.
So like what made you start diving into the occult? Because I remember when you hit me up, it was probably like 4 or 5 years ago maybe. It was like when I opened this business.
Yeah.
You were interested in, and I don't even think you really knew what I was doing at that point. I think you did, but you didn't.
Yeah, pretty much. Because
you knew that I was into it, so like I kind of like gave you some like little hints and things to go by, and then you kind of just like went on your own way.
Well, I mean, when you're looking into conspiracy stuff, like I was for a long time, you come across a lot of occult stuff, but in that world, the occult stuff is always bad. It's always Satan or, whatever. It's always bad.
Right.
But I came across this book called The Kabbalion, which I lent to you a couple years ago and you read. And that kind of changed my mind and led me to read The Secret Teaching of All Ages by Manly Hall and Blavatsky and Crowley. Crowley gets a bad rap too as like a Satanist guy. And he did some fucked up shit. But there's some real good information in there. It's not all bad stuff.
So when you read stuff that he actually wrote?
Yes.
Okay. How do you feel when you read it? Because that was always the thing with me. Like, I was always interested in Crowley, but every time I would like go to connect, because I open up energetically when I connect to anything. So like to me, it's kind of like, I don't know if I want to open that door. I think I'll just ask you stuff.
There's a lot of stuff that he writes that sounds like mumbo jumbo that I really haven't gotten into. But Magic in Theory and Practice is the one you would want to probably start with. Yeah. And that's where he talks about do as thou wilt. But it's not do as thou wilt like go do whatever you want, like the whole Satanist credo. It's more like do what you want under will, love, and all that kind of stuff. So it's really a good message.
But didn't he write some books too? Because I know that I have some friends has friends that have read his stuff, and they said that he talks about how to like harm people in some of his books. Is that like later on? I think
when, from what I've read, and specifically this comes from Blavatsky, is that when you open up to this stuff, it kind of brings out your subconscious will. So if you're a good person, it'll bring out your good qualities and you won't be able to help it. And if you're a shitty person, even though you might be good on the outside, if you're a shitty person on the inside, it'll bring out the shitty person that you didn't know was in you. Right. So I think once he opened up that portal, I guess, that is the side that was his subconscious will that came out.
That makes a lot of sense. So like we're talking in terms of magic here right now, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I always tell people, because there'll be people that'll come in here and they'll be they have like little synchronicities or like paranormal things that happen, and they're beginning to wake up, and then they come in the shop and they're like, oh, spells and crystals and like all this stuff. And I'm like, look, like this is what I've learned doing this work. You really want to start doing healing work before you start doing magical work, right? Because if you start going into doing, and I've done some shit where I'm like, oh shit, I probably should have never done that. Like when I first started doing this stuff, when you start doing this work and you're not in the right state of mind, you do definitely open up doors that you don't want to open. And honestly, sometimes you need to open them to learn those lessons, but I can totally see what Blavatsky, how do you say her name?
Blavatsky.
I always call her like Blasky or Blasphemy. Anyways, I could see say it again. Blavatsky is saying by that. Because it does make a lot of sense, because I see a lot of people in this business, and because I hear stories, like people come in and they tell me this person did this and this person did this, and I'm like, what a fucking idiot, like why would you do that? But also too, as somebody in this realm, you kind of have to step back and not always judge. Like, everyone has their reasons behind doing things.
Right.
But I do see people that get into this and then they start going into these like little rabbit holes that they shouldn't be wandering into. And I definitely feel like it's because they're not doing the healing work. They're trying to do more of the magic to either obtain something that isn't in their life yet, or to become more powerful, or because they're in a rush to manifest something that they really, really want. And that's when I feel like it gets dangerous. And I even hit you up, what was it, like 2 weeks ago, when I went down that rabbit hole, and I was like, yo, what do you think of this theory? And then you told me that, and I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense, because I was having a lot of doubts about my path, because I started opening up to my galactic energy again, and then this negative galactic energy started coming in at me, and I was like almost questioning what I was doing. And then you told me that, and then I was talking to a few other people, and I had to do healing work on that. Like, I had to go in and heal that before I moved forward.
Yeah.
So what a lot of people don't do is they'll move forward and they'll just go into that shit, and then that shit will kind of take over.
When I hear people talk about all this stuff, it's always like spells and right off the bat, that's what everybody wants to do. When there's like a whole philosophy behind it that you really need to kind of know. I would imagine. I don't do spells and all that stuff. But as far as the philosophy,
I can't see you being the spell kind of guy.
No, but as far as the philosophy of the occult, you need like a foundation of that before you do that. Plus, one of her rules wasn't just it was you need to, actually, I say it on my shirt right now. It says know thyself.
Yeah.
Her thing was, and not thyself necessarily right now, your past karma also will tell you whether you're going to have that shitty person subconsciously inside of you or not.
You mean like past life stuff?
Yeah.
I do past life regressions.
There you go.
You should do a past life regression.
I probably should.
Yeah. It's actually very healing to do a past life regression. So a lot of people that come in and they do the past life work, they actually get a lot of... It can be fucked up for a little bit when you go into you wander into your past lives, but after that, you begin to look at the way you're living your life now, and you start to see the connections and also the problems that you're having, and then your reactions to things. That all connects. Do you believe in, like, quantum theory, that we're living multiple lifetimes all at once?
That's a loaded question. There's so many different theories now.
Maybe that's what we should talk about next.
There's the quantum one, where everything you're doing, everything you could possibly do, like somewhere in some world somewhere, I'm the president. Some world somewhere else, I'm homeless on the street. But there's, I don't know, there's so many, but I could definitely see it as a simulation, whatever you want to call it.
Like, because I always thought that sometimes when I'm having a tough time in my current reality, I was that age in a past life when something shitty happened to me. That thought was like always in the back of my head. And then I started studying the quantum theories a little bit, which is hard for me because it's hard to understand the scientific language for me, which is definitely something that I need to learn to understand and stop being a bitch about.
Well, that's the cool thing about once you get into the philosophy of the occult and you go read any quantum stuff or the holographic universe or they
I didn't even get there.
They really kind of tie together, like the occult sciences, as they called them then. I think there really was a science to it. It wasn't just fucking, some guys out there believing in magic through, religion or whatever. There was like a legitimate science.
Yeah. And if you read Laurie Cabot's books, who is actually... She's like one of the most famous witches in Salem. She talks about that a lot in her books, and how witchcraft is a science, and she used to teach the science of witchcraft for a long time. She actually still does classes, which I would be interested in taking a class with her. But in her book, Power of the Witch, she talks about it a lot. So it's definitely interesting.
Somebody wants to use a spell to bring back CM Punk.
I'm not doing that. And I'm not going to tell anybody how to do that.
Rick.
Use a spell to bring back Phil Brooks? Who?
CM Punk.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, that would be going against somebody's free will. So
That's true.
can't do that. What's one of your favorite like occult theories that you read that like when you read it, it really clicked and it made like almost so many of the significant things in your life make sense to you?
Oh man.
Get in the camera. They can't see you.
Sorry. Probably the Kabbalion.
Okay.
That, I mean, I can't really explain it. It was just one of those books. I don't know if it was really the.
Which book is that? The one
that
you
was
let me
like
borrow?
the little blue hardcover.
Yeah,
one.
we need to teach a whole class on that.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's Hermeticism.
Yeah.
Like it's filtered through like it was called the New Thought movement in like the 20s or something.
Yeah.
But basically, it's Hermeticism, as above, so below, and all that stuff. I don't know if that was the first thing, but that's definitely the one that kind of put me over the edge.
How so? Like, how do you feel about that?
I don't know. It's one of those things where, you know, when you feel something but you can't explain it.
Yeah.
It just made sense to me.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's how I felt when I read it. But honestly, I can't tell you any. Like, I remember the pendulum.
Yeah.
And then the thing that made sense was the pillars. So like love and hate are on the same pillar. Is that
right?
And then like all that stuff makes a lot of sense. But I feel like it's something that I actually need to study to be able to explain.
So I can explain the love and hate thing a little bit. So that symbolism is in Freemasonry. It's in some of the Egyptian stuff. It's in Freemasonry. It's the pillar of mercy and the pillar of severity. And say in magic, there's the middle pillar ritual. So to be in the middle instead of polarized all the way right or all the way left. So you're not thinking all with, say, your right brain or all with your left brain.
Right.
And you're thinking kind of more down the middle.
Yep.
Which is, that was one of the things in the Kabbalion too, not being polarized. So love and hate is kind of like, it's not opposite like people would think. Black and white isn't opposite. It's really just kind of the same point, and one's on this side and one's on this side. So the whole idea of the symbolism of the occult in almost every case is about being balanced and in the middle instead of the left or right.
Right.
Kind of like, say, you know, Republicans and Democrats. Like,
Right.
you're on one side, this one's on another. You really need to be kind of like right here.
Well, that's what I tell everybody when they come in here.
And that's
that you need
in
a
life.
balance of everything. Yeah.
You just make better decisions. You're not sure, you know, if you're thinking right-brained, if you're not thinking the left also, then you're missing some stuff.
Right.
So you need a balance of both.
How do you think that this world is now?
In terms of what?
Like that pillar. You think they're on the pillar?
It's more polarized than I've ever seen, and I'm going to be 40 this year.
Yeah.
So it's pretty bad.
You think so?
Yeah. It's weird though, because people are more polarized, but there's probably less crime than there's ever been. And
right.
Even though they want to tell you differently, there's less crime, less violent crime. The media doesn't want you to know that, but that's the truth.
So like I'm in this group called Namaste, you know, one of those fucking groups.
Yep.
And I'm really getting sick of it because like the people in there are like, they're supposed to be spiritual people, but they're not. They're like crybabies. Yeah. So anyways, somebody was trying to call me. And someone posted in the group, like, to not have babies. And they were like, because we have no food and everything's being polluted and this is like the worst time to live ever. And I went to comment under it and my phone kept closing out. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'm not supposed to even engage in this with anybody.
Yeah.
But like, this is something that I tell people all the time because I believe that. Like, first of all, I've done a lot of past life regressions, and I can tell you right now, I've never died normally. I think in one lifetime I did, and I was a drunk, so I don't know if that's like a normal death, but I was beaten to death, I was hung, I was drawn and quartered. Is that how you say it? I believe it or not, I was a fucking vicious warrior in many lifetimes. I mean, you wouldn't know it by like looking at my small body. But yeah. I know I was burned alive. I was stoned to death. So I feel like we're doing pretty good right now in these days. Also, too, like, you know me, Steve knows me. Like, I like those stupid books at Barnes and Nobles that nobody buys in the front. Or was it Borders now? Which one closed?
Borders closed.
Okay. So I have, like, this fucking book at home called the Disease Book. And it shows, like, all the diseases throughout history. And, like, people couldn't even live down south.
Yeah.
Like, 200 years ago. If you go to New Orleans and you do a ghost tour, people were dying. Hundreds of thousands of people were dying just because it was hot, because of yellow fever.
Yeah, we live in the best time ever, in recorded history at least.
I totally agree. Yeah. But there's more depression than ever right now.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot more suicides, and so it's more like self-inflicted harm than other people harming each other, I think, at this point.
Yeah. Which
I actually feel like is showing a lot of growth in humanity.
Yeah, I mean...
Like, if we're getting to the point where we're going so deep within ourselves that we're not liking ourselves, even though you shouldn't be killing yourself, I think that it's showing that we actually have time to think about the things that we want, we don't want, and it's kind of like we're going deeper within instead of...
I think it kind of goes... The suicide thing kind of goes back to I watched your video last week about wishing. And a lot of people just wish for stuff and don't actually do stuff, and they have no outlet to be creative. Yeah. They have no outlet to do something like this, or no outlet for people to listen to them, and no outlet to do anything creative that gives you a purpose.
Yep.
And people don't have a purpose other than, hey, I'm going to get up and go to work and make money and come home and sleep, and next day I'm going to do the same thing, and then I'm going to pay bills, and that's their purpose, and that's not a real purpose.
Right.
So I think that's the biggest thing in terms of why everyone's so depressed.
Right. But that's actually, I feel like, a good thing, because now we're learning about purpose. Like, we never had... Like, our parents didn't have time to learn about purpose. You know what I mean? Like, our parents were too busy needing to survive. Like, our grandparents, forget it. I know that, like, my grandparents or my great-grandparents came from, like, World War I, World War II. So, like, they didn't have time to think about that. So.
Right. Rick made a good point. He said, lack of worrying about primal survival creates internal struggle. So we're so comfortable now that we have other things to think about, like the internal struggle.
This is true. So what do you think we should talk about on this podcast? We want to hear from you guys. Like, obviously, we're going to talk about some fucking crazy shit. And Steve has, like, a shitload of information in his head. So, Steve, you said to me that you haven't really been reading anything lately.
No.
But where's all that information being stored in you? Can you pull it out for us so we can do some cool stuff on this show?
Oh, I can definitely pull it out.
All right.
I think the reason I'll go through these spurts where I'll read all the time, and then I won't for a long time. And I think once I come back to it, it's like my brain subconsciously orders it in my head, and when I come back to it, I know it better than I did when I was reading it. That's kind of the same thing for anyone that doesn't know, I rapped in a group called IMZ and then The Network. And when I first started, I wasn't very good, and then I took like a year off to go to New England Tech, and I immediately, like the first time we tried to write something together, I was 100 times better than I was without any practice in between.
When you stopped
whatsoever.
rapping?
Yeah.
You know what's fucked up? I feel like I have writer's block when it comes to rapping now.
Oh, yeah, I probably would too. I haven't tried to write anything in a long time, but at that point when I just dropped it and didn't practice or try to get better, as soon as I came back, I got better.
Why do you think that is? Do you think it's because we're taking in too much information from other places?
Too much information, not enough output, so it kind of gets jumbled around.
Do you think maybe we can start rapping after we do this podcast?
Probably.
Okay. Because I've been struggling with that for a little bit. Like, even Adam got me a dope beat from, like, Young Wicked, and I can't fucking rap to it. And I'm like, why is this happening to me?
So what are you trying to do? Do you try to put, like, the spiritual stuff in there now? Or
I guess. I mean, that's the only thing I'm really, like...
I was going to say that's definitely what you should do.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. Like, I don't want to be like, what's her name? Cardi B. Like, that's like what I'm trying to go for here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I've been having an issue with that. I haven't tried in a while. Like I tried like 6 months ago, probably 5 months ago, and then I was like, this isn't happening.
That's the best thing to do when you have writer's block, I feel anyway. Just kind of walk away from it and then go back.
Well, yeah, I fucking been walking away from it. So how do I walk towards that again?
I don't know. You got to find a way to put the energy you put into this, into that.
What do you think Aleister Crowley would say to me?
He would tell you to... let's see. He would tell you to make a sigil and put your will into it, whatever that may be.
That's a good idea.
And then burn it so you forget about it because you don't want to think about results.
Yep.
And then
maybe I'll just start fucking rapping.
That's exactly right.
Like on my coaching calls with people.
Yeah.
I'll be like, yo, what the fuck? Why am I paying this girl right now? But yeah, no, that would be cool.
Just try that. Never know.
Yeah. Well, I think that makes a lot of sense because honestly, the information I've been getting lately is that's why I created this page and doing the Ashley TV thing because I got to do because I have too much information coming in and then it gets stuck here.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I don't know what to do with myself. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then I get all fucking, and then I just lay down.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that shit anymore. So, like, that's why I'm, like, creating all these classes. That's why I'm like, oh, ET's 101. I just need to get this shit out. Like, just throw me a donation and, like, we can talk about aliens, you know? Because I just need to release. I think, too, the big thing was, like, I've been going crazy with doing healings on people for the last 4 years. And guess what happens with that? I don't talk a lot, you know? Or I'm, like, all intertwined in their shit.
Right. So you pick up their shit.
Yeah. And like they're not rappers. Maybe I should start healing a bunch of rappers and then maybe I can start rapping again.
You're probably right though. You probably just have too much info because I've seen quotes in occult philosophy about that. I can't remember the exact quotes, but it's always kind of like you can't just take this kind of stuff and then just sit on it and keep it for you.
Yeah.
You just kind of you got to put it out there.
Yeah, and that's what I teach when I'm coaching people because I don't think you guys understand, and I don't think humanity understands this, and this is what I'm really trying to put out there as like a spiritual teacher and a coach. What you're good at is needed for the world. You know what I mean? So if you're keeping that hidden, I don't care if you make fucking socks, all right? If you're like the best sock maker in the world, you need to be making socks and selling them because you never know what those socks could create for somebody else's life. But like there's people like I was doing a coaching call the other night and like this girl, she's like, oh, I do photography, and she's like, I love doing photography, but she's working a job that's like not fulfilling her. And I'm like, why aren't you doing photography? And she's like, oh, I don't know. This is what most people do.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I'm like, she's basically like kind of afraid. And I'm like, you need to put out there that you're doing photography. Do like sessions for like $50 or something and just go out and do it.
Right.
You know, because you're blocking your chi, your prana, all this energy that's in your body, and then you're not able to feel that sense of fulfillment. You're not able to, and it's also like keeping that gift from the world.
Yeah.
Like how many people would love just her photography and want that for their family? And also it's, you know, when you're a photographer, you're capturing memories. That's so important for people and their family. You know, like that's one gift. I mean, when you're making socks, you're keeping people's feet warm. So it doesn't matter like how trivial the thing is that you're good at. I really feel like you need to go out and do it. And that's why I'm holding myself accountable. And I'm just going to like talk a lot of shit and, you know, talk about occult things with Steve because this is what I'm good at. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those people. I have a full-time job that I don't want to go to ever, but I have to. Because I have to make a living to make money. But I'm also one of those people who aren't going and doing the things that I would probably want to do just because I'm so busy going to work. But so I'm definitely one of those people that need to follow that kind of direction.
Well, we're doing the podcast, so that's like one thing.
Right.
But like what else do you want to do that you're not doing?
I mean, I don't know. There's always I always get stuck in these things and I'll do them for a little while and then I won't. But I mean, one thing that's been constant is learning this kind of information. So to be able to put it out.
Well, now we're going to hold you accountable because
Right.
you're going to be in front of people and they're going to be watching you live. And
Right.
when people are watching you live, you can't fuck up. I mean, you can. I
Yeah.
fuck up all the time, but it's just like one of those things where we're like, we need Steve to be on point and give us all the occult information so that we can hold the people accountable that are actually using the occult against us and using their agenda and all the dark magicians. We need to break the spell here. So I actually have been feeling, and I've been hearing in my head from my wonderful alien spirit guides, that I am a spell breaker. So kind of like Daenerys, I know. She was like, what was she?
The breaker of chains.
Breaker of chains. I'm the breaker of spells here. So I'm here to just open you up to the truth. And so I've been doing this journaling work because I'm taking a course that's actually like a pretty hardcore thing. And one of the things it was I had to journal about what I had to give or what I had to do to be like the best version of myself. And the main thing that kept coming up is offending people.
That you offend people, or you need to offend people?
That naturally, when I'm in my natural state as Ashley, I'm offensive to people.
Okay.
So like I just have to do that. You know what I mean? Kind of
Yeah.
like Chuck. Not like Chuck though, but
Yeah.
Chuck's on a whole nother level of offending people, but you know.
Chuck's a professional offender.
Chuck is the professional. Wow, he needs a t-shirt that has like a little badge on it or something that just says professional offender here. Help me stop eating these Doritos. That's not the kind of work I do. It's hard to choose when you like so much but get bored very easily. Well, I'll tell you right now, I don't get bored with what I do. I always change it up. So, like, I was doing the healing work for a while, and then I was like, I can't fucking do this shit anymore. I fucking want to drive off a bridge. But then I just changed it to coaching. But that's evolution.
Yeah.
Like, that was part of my process evolving as a spiritual teacher. Is like, okay, enough with taking people in and moving all their shit for them. Now you're evolving to another level where you can literally talk to people and help them move their shit and then hold them accountable for having to move their own shit.
Right.
So I think the boredom thing is like, you may have not found the thing that you want to do, or you're like giving up too easily.
Yeah, if you were passionate about any of those things, you probably wouldn't be bored with it.
Yeah, no, I never get bored with aliens. I'll tell you that right now.
When I was doing music, I did it every day, whether it was actual music or doing stuff to promote or this and that. And I woke up and that's what I did every day because I loved it and I was passionate about it and I never got bored with it. So if you find something like that, you're not going to get bored with it.
That's a problem with a lot of people too that I work with, my clients. They're like, I don't know what I like to do, but I feel like that's a bullshit thing that they tell themselves. Like, I feel like a lot of people know what they like to do, but they don't admit that they like to do it because they feel like it's stupid and it's not worthy.
Right.
Like somebody that would be like really good at making socks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, people would probably make fun of you because you make socks, but I have fucking aliens all over the place and I talk about aliens all day. So like, I don't know. I feel like the sock person would probably get more respect than me, but...
Well, that's what holds a lot of people back, like you said, is people judging them like the alien thing. I'm sure when you first started talking about that...
People still fucking judge me for it.
Yeah, but you don't care anymore.
No.
I'm sure when you first started, you did.
Well, I started doing this weird thing called light language. That's fucking weird.
What's that?
So it's like when you channel into the ET being and a weird language comes out of you, and it's fucking weird. You're just going to have to Google it. Eventually, I'll be doing light language in front of you guys, but I'm only doing it in my private classes now. It's fucking weird. I don't know how to explain it. It's like, I don't know how to explain it in normal people terms.
So is it almost like they're channeling you?
They're channeling into it's almost like they're dropping into my energy field.
Crowley did that.
He did light language?
I don't know if that's what he called it, but he drew this picture. He called it a demon, but the picture it looked like almost like a gray alien. I forget what he called it. And I think it talked to him. Well, I don't think it talked through him, in a different language, but it talked to him.
But did he talk while he was doing it?
I'm not sure.
I'm talking.
Yeah.
In like another language that I don't know. But I can literally, because Michelle and Gail have seen me do it, I literally, most of the time, know what they're saying to me when I talk in the light language. So, yeah, that's fucking weird.
So you know what they're saying, but when it comes out of you, it's a different language.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually easy for me to connect with their energy through the light language than me just like channeling into it. But the thing that I realized with doing light language is how much human English sucks.
Oh yeah, it's terrible.
Because I feel like there's pieces missing. So now I have to learn Latin.
Yeah.
But I don't know how I'm going to do that. So
yeah. Even Latin, like you'd probably have to go back to like Sanskrit or Sumerian or something to really get like the...
I don't know how I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
So...
Probably easier to learn than English. They say English is the hardest language to learn.
Because it fucking sucks.
So many variations of words that
you know that, know the word subtle? Like, see that book right there? Subtle Body?
Yeah.
You know that I thought for years it was subtle? I would say that in my videos.
Yeah, I can picture that.
So if you go back in some of my videos, I'm literally like, the subtle body. And so, like, literally, my friend came in and she goes, you know the word subtle, spelled S-U-B. I'm like, and she was telling me about it because her mom was making fun of her for it. And I was like, no way. I go, that's how you really say it? She goes, yeah. I'm like, yo, I've been saying it wrong for years on videos. She was like, wow, that sucks.
If I remember right, you're not the best speller anyway.
No,
right?
I'm not the best speller, and I can't say names right. I don't remember a lot of things, but I can talk to aliens and dead people and stuff.
Well, there you go.
So, you know, it makes up for different things. And I can rap when I don't have writer's block, but that hasn't happened in years.
All right. See, you can't do one thing. You got some gift somewhere else that you can make up for it with.
It sounds like gibberish to your ears, but your heart understands it. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
So is it kind of like, I don't know how much you know about it, but like sometimes in DMT trips, you'll have these little machine elves, they call them, these little beings, and sometimes they say things to you, and a lot of people can't understand what they're saying. I wonder if it's something similar.
Probably, yeah. Yeah. But you do get like downloads and transmissions from them. So if I have light language coming through, if I'm with a client, it's either like clearing something or it's giving them some sort of information that's going to download into their energy field, and then eventually they'll begin to understand it in their mind. So this is like how these energies are beginning to connect with us, because they can't physically connect with us in the physical form, because a lot of them are on different frequencies that we can't.
Right.
Well, I don't know. I guess that people like us can connect, but it's just a different form of communication.
Yeah, I always tell people, as far as like the frequency thing, like think of your brain like a radio, and if you're on 92 Pro FM, for anyone watching in Rhode Island or New England, and you switch to HJY, Pro FM doesn't go away. It's still there. You just tuned into a different frequency. And I think some people have a high-end radio brain that can turn into different frequencies and hear different things, and some people struggle to get past a little bit.
See, I can do the radio changing, but I can't spell.
Yeah.
So I'd rather be able to change frequencies than spell.
Yeah.
So I don't care. Sometimes my spelling's so bad that I can't even find it on Google.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, that's really bad. So like that's why I hate writing, because some people are like, I love writing blogs, and I'm like, I fucking hate it sometimes, because I'll be like, oh, that's not the way you spell that, and then I spend like 15 minutes trying to find the spelling for that.
See, I'm a good speller, but I hate writing because a lot of stuff I understand innately, but when I try to put it into words like this,
I understand that
or
too.
write it down, I can't really make someone else understand it.
Right.
I just understand it myself. Which can be a problem since I'm doing a podcast about it.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm here, because I think I can help with that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you got to get out of the innate. That's because you're an introvert.
Yes.
And you're very like.
I'm an INTJ, for anyone familiar with Briggs-Meyer personality type.
What's that?
Basically, it's like an introvert. They call it the mastermind. Like, they just kind of...
What do you think I am?
Oh God, I don't know. I have to read up on the rest of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How do I find out what I am?
There's a test online. It's a legitimate personality test. It's not one of those like stupid little Facebook ones.
Do you think it would be like psychotic?
No, they just tell you whether like you're an introvert or extrovert, or if you're a judger or a perceiver, or intuition, or like mine is intuition first, and a judger last. And all I know is when I read it, this was years ago, like I understood myself more. I was like, wow, this is legitimate.
I want to do this now. You need to.
Yeah, I'll send you a link later.
All right, cool. Who's this guy, Rich? I see him watching my videos. Do you know him?
Yeah. Oh, I just hit the camera and almost knocked it over. Yeah, Rick he used to help. He used to come down to USWF and he reffed once in a while.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you ever met him. This was post backyard.
Oh, I don't know. You can find the test online, Michelle just said.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, it's
I'm going to
online.
have to take it. All right, well, how long did we do here?
I don't know. I'd have to get up and look at the little recorder. Seems like we've been a while.
So, I don't know. I feel like we're done here for today. This is just an intro. How long did we do?
I don't know. It just shut off.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, well, then I guess we're done.
I guess we're done.
That's fucking weird.
That
It
is
shut
weird.
off when you...
Literally, as I walked over there. It shut
Wow.
off.
See, I'm psychic.
That means we're done.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to be here not next Friday, but the next Friday. We're going to have a better setup. This is why it's the intro. We're going to have a name, too.
Yeah. Help us with a name.
Yeah, help us with the name. So he's occulty and I'm spiritual. So we can think of something from there, you know. But we also got to have guests, too.
Yeah, definitely.
Who do you think should be our first guest? I think Brian should.
Probably, like Brian would be a good like intermediary between us, like because he'll listen and ask questions that make sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he knows some of this stuff just from hearing us.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But
Brian understands a lot more than people think that he
Yeah. Brian's very smart.
Colleen said the subtle duo. No, I'm not using the word subtle. I try to stay away from that word. That fucking word fucked me up. I need to go back in my videos and find where I... MF gangsters. What's the MF? Magical motherfuckers? I don't know. All right, we're signing off. Thank you for joining us on our first, whatever this is. It's not even really our first episode. It's kind of like a
test.
Yeah, test. All right, we'll see you. What would the date be?
Today is what, the 5th? So
yeah.
The 12th?
Wow, you really did that in your head?
Yeah.
Okay.
I used my fingers.
Okay. All right, cool. So we'll see you on the 12th. We'll put up more of a notice next time, like around what time we're going live. Oh my God, look, there's 12 people watching. We'll be live again on the 12th. All right, we'll see you soon.
See ya.
Bye.